everyone, I'm Molly. I'm your yoga teacher for today. We're going to do class 4 of 4 in this yin series for tight or sore muscles. The focus is on our hips today, hips and glutes. So if you have props like blocks or a bolster or pillows, whatever you have, go ahead and grab them. They would come in handy. Of course, you can do the class without them, but a little extra support would be nice. So grab that stuff and we'll get started. Today we're going to begin in a supported Supta Baddha Konasana. So bring whatever block or pillow or book you have, and that's going to go on the outer edge on each side of the mat. You're going to lay your body down, and then your knees are going to splay open and rest onto the blocks. So that extra support there just makes sure you're able to totally release here, as opposed to feeling too much of a stretch where you're not able to relax. So if that means you need to stack your block higher and have your knees meet it higher up, go ahead and take that option. Wherever you are, soles of the feet touch in the center, hands rest down on your belly. Feel the belly start to inflate into your hands on an inhale. Close your eyes down. And just center into this moment, into this practice. Setting that intention to find ease and relaxation and restoration. Let your knees become heavier towards those blocks as we take 3 more breaths together. In through your nose, nice and slow. Big exhale, even longer in length. Take a breath in through your nose. Invite in some ease. Take a breath out, release any tension. One more intentional breath together. And then I want you to release the control you have of your breath and just settle down. Settle in. As you feel your inner hips opening and spiraling more, maybe you're able to remove or lower your block. Moving deeper into your stretch. And then start to bring some life into your fingers and toes. Place your hands on the outsides of your thighs. Use that support to draw your knees in towards center and then into your chest. Just take some rolls over to the right, lubricating through your hip joints, and then a couple rolls over to your left. Good. And then we're going to come into reclined pigeon. So if you don't want to use the wall, Just plant your left foot down into the mat, left kneecap points to the sky, and then cross your right ankle over your left thigh. You can always reach through that window for the front of your shin. Although this feels like kind of an active version, and I want this to be nice and relaxed. So if you do have a wall, scoot your hips up to the very edge. Place your left heel on the wall and then cross your right ankle over here. This is a great way to increase the sensation of the stretch without increasing your physical effort to get into it. So normally I would say really actively draw your right knee out to the side by engaging your glute, but right now I just want us to relax. See if you can flatten your low back down to the mat. There's a time and a place for both types of stretches and movements, but here and now we're just working on taking a gentle approach, letting our nervous system chill out. Slide your right ankle wherever feels comfortable along your left thigh. Get out any wiggles and we'll stay here a few moments longer. Release whatever contraction you're making in your right glute. 5 deep belly breaths. Good, hug your right knee into your chest, and then we'll switch them out. Whether you're on the ground or on the wall, your right foot plants, your left ankle crosses over your right thigh, your back flattens down to the mat, and breathe. Stretching your hips can bring out a lot of sensation and sometimes some emotion. So if you find that you need to take a more gentle variation, please do. Please just back out of the stretch. Find your happy medium, your sweet spot. Use the support of everything around you, your mat, the earth, the wall, as opposed to just relying on yourself to stay here. more belly breaths. Relax your shoulders down to the mat for 3. Soften your jaw for 2. On 1, hug your knees into your chest, give them a little circle, and then we'll roll over. So we're sitting up on our mats. We're going to come into a deer pose. So instead of having the hips and knees at 90 degrees like this, your right leg is going to be in front. I want you to bend your knee more, bring your heel in towards your body. A little more pointy. So we're going to do a lot of external rotation, both with that pigeon and with a couple other things. Right now I want to move into some internal rotation of that left hip. So bring your blocks, your props, whatever you need, out in front of your right foot. A lot of times we would fold over the right thigh, but again, let's do something a little different today. If you feel any intense pinching, please back out of the stretch, but it might be a different sensation than you're used to. We're going to fold down, and if anything, we're going to bias folding over our left leg, but more through the center. Internal rotation is not something we stretch into a lot. See if you can find some release here, even in this new posture. If you want, I know it's not the most relaxing, but you can stretch your right arm out to the side and press through your palm. This will shift the weight over onto the left hip, but also twist your torso open to the right, just to increase the sensation a little bit. Can you become softer through your low back space and your kidney area, letting that band widen? Seam of your left thigh bone sink down towards the mat. We're here for 3. For 2 more full breaths. And then gently rise up. We're going to switch sides. Give yourself a minute. Just come into more of a neutral posture. And then as you're ready, you're going to switch legs. So bring the left leg into external rotation where the knee is pointing out, the heel is in, and bring the right leg into internal rotation. The heel curls back behind you. You can keep your props right where they are or shift around as needed. And then fold down. Again, if you're biasing anything, let's bias over towards the right leg a little bit. Maybe land your opposite cheek down to the mat or down towards your bolster. And if you want your arm to support you, stretch your left hand out long, press through that palm. To send the weight over the left thigh, but to roll, or over the right thigh, but to roll the chest open to the left. Let your shoulders drape down over your bolster. Your chest becomes heavier. Two more breaths. Expand through all areas for one more. And then slowly rise up. Again, give yourself just a minute to feel into your hips. It can get really intense. And as you're ready, we're going to face the front of our mats and come into Gomukasana. So your left leg is on the bottom, your kneecap is pointing straight ahead. Your right knee stacks on top of the left. I want you to take a minute just to sit up into your posture. If you need more space, feel free to place a rolled up blanket underneath your hips. A bolster might be a little much, but if that feels good, hang out there. And then if this feels okay, if you can maintain the softness of your breath, maybe try to bring your shins more towards parallel and your ankles flex. Again, just feel it out here. And then if you would like, you can create that support in front of you and fold forward again. Or you can just stay here and close your eyes. I think I might take that option today. We are going to move into Firelock pose. So if you'd like, join me. We'll sit upright for Gomukasana and then we'll fold down for Firelock, but take whatever option you want. Just find something that feels interesting, that feels like a good stretch. You can even try leaning back, see if that feels good for you. See if you can ground into both sit bones a little more, especially that right sit bone. Pretend you had a sandbag on your right thigh, just weighing it down. And then if you want to move on to Firelock pose, you're going to now stack both shins on top of each other. So the right knee comes on top of the left ankle, and the right ankle comes on top of the left knee. If you have a ton of space on this right side, you can always place something soft or a block just to support that right knee if it feels uncomfortable hanging. Otherwise, if it doesn't bother you, you're fine. And for this one, we'll move a lot into external rotation of both hips by folding down and folding forward. Just to your limit. Just to a place that lets you open up and not tense up. Create length along your whole back body. And soften down. I like to place my bolster on top of the low setting of the block, but if you're more open, you could even try just releasing down onto your elbows and forearms and dropping the head. That feels a little intense for me today, so I'm going to hang out up here, or you can stack the blocks higher. And be here a bit longer. Hips and the low back are so connected, so you might feel some sensation start to creep through your low back. You feel it along the left side here. And just be gentle with yourself. These are your sweet, precious moments here, so try to rein the mind back in. Don't let it drift off to your to-do list or that email that you're crafting or dinner that you have to cook. We're here together for a few more stretches, so really be here. Five more breaths. Good. Slowly, slowly lift back up, pushing through your palms. Move your prop slightly forward, lean back. Uncross your legs and just windshield wiper them side to side. And then we'll move on to the other side. So right leg on bottom, Gomukasana first, stacking your knees on top of each other. Heels curled in towards your glutes with toes pointed. If that already feels like a lot, make sure you're grounding through both sit bones. And then if you want a little more of a stretch, either you can fold forward or you can bring your shins more parallel with your feet flexed. Again, sitting up in your posture, feeling it out. And then exploring and eventually settling in. I'm going to lean back for a while and then maybe just sit upright. Imagine you have that sandbag on your left thigh, weighing it down. is soft and moves throughout. Take a moment to relax your eyelids, to relax your jaw. And an option to stay in Gomukasana or move on to Firelock pose. Your shins stack, ankles and knees are above and below each other. Find the position of your pelvis. And then if you want to join me, I'm going to fold forward and really move into those glutes. Start more gently, and then as your body softens, you can deepen more. But try not to go too far straight away. It's okay if this side feels different than the other, just pay attention. Without judgment. Recommit to that sense of calm. 5 more breaths. Start to rise back up. Lean back, uncross your legs. And then either just stay still or windshield wiper back and forth, side to side. Bringing some lubrication in there. That was very intense. Good, and then we have one more stretch together. We're going to take either a frog or a tadpole. So if you're really open to your hips, and you know that you are, go ahead and take frog. This is a great place for blankets underneath your knees. If you don't have that, you can fold up the edges of your mat to create some more cushion for you. So your knees are going to come out to the very corners, and your feet extend straight down from your knees. So we're creating a 90-degree bend at our hips, our knees, and our ankles. Then, grab that bolster. I like to use a bolster. This is a tough stretch for me, so I like to create a little more of a gentle variation. But just start to rock forward and backwards. And then eventually settle your hips between your knees, allowing your inner thighs to sink heavy towards the mat. You can hug your bolster, you can lay onto your bolster. If this just feels like way too much in general, take tadpole by bending your knees more and bringing your big toes to touch in the center. So it kind of looks a little bit more like a child's pose frog variation. definitely a stretch where I recommend taking it a little easier at first, and as your body starts to calm down and back off, then you can melt down into it more. Relax your low back. And there's no shame or judgment of taking that tadpole. I'm going to do that today. Just find what feels good. Hang out here. See if you can soften here for 10 more breath cycles. Belly breaths, your belly presses into that bolster. Find some softness. Now, if you want to stay in frog or tadpole longer, please feel free. If you want to release into Shavasana or meditation or just go to sleep, you have all those options. Otherwise, our practice is going to end here. And this is the end of our series as well. So if you did enjoy it, please like it and share it with others. Thank you for joining. I know it's a little different, but this stuff is important too. So I really hope you loved it, and I will see you next time. Namaste.